Let's explore the psychology of why, for some of us, home just feels like the best place on earth. You know the exact feeling I'm talking about. The second you close that door behind you, it's like the world's volume knob is finally turned all the way down. It's a physical thing, right? You can feel your shoulders drop. You take your first real deep breath of the day. It's more than just comfort. It feels like you're finally coming back to yourself after a long day of, well, performing. But what happens when that simple preference starts to feel more like a necessity? When home stops being a place you just enjoy and starts feeling like a refuge you absolutely need? That's the real question we're diving into now. Why that quiet can feel so incredibly essential. So, this brings us to this big idea of home as a true refuge. And let's be clear, this isn't about hiding from the world. It's about a profound learned need for a space where you can finally, completely let your guard down. I mean, think about it. Out in the world, we're constantly on. We're adapting, we're performing, we're managing everyone's expectations. Home is often the only place where absolutely nothing is demanded of you. There's no one to impress, no role you have to play. In that quiet, you don't disappear at all. You finally get to be fully, 100% unapologetically you. And here's what's so fascinating. This deep, deep need for home often isn't a conscious decision you're making. It's not some personality flaw. It's actually an intelligent, protective response from your body's own wiring, your nervous system. For a lot of people, this powerful pull towards home is an unconscious pattern that the body has learned. After long periods of social or emotional or psychological pressure, your nervous system basically makes a choice for you. It learns a very simple, very powerful equation: quiet equals safety. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. It all starts with constant pressure. That kicks your system into survival mode, that classic fight or flight state. But here's the thing, you can't stay there forever. Eventually, the system just gets exhausted. So it finds a new strategy: withdrawal. Not as giving up, but as a way to regulate itself and stabilize. So let's focus on this word, stabilization. In a culture that just glorifies being on 24/7, we might slap a label on this like laziness or avoidance, but it's not. This is your nervous system doing its job. It's an intelligent process of conserving energy, lowering the threat level, and trying to get you back to a state of balance. It's smart, not weak. Of course, this experience isn't one size fits all. The reasons people crave the quiet of home can be really different. So let's explore a few common profiles or archetypes to see how this actually plays out in real life. Okay, first up, the classic introvert. The myth is that they're shy, antisocial, maybe a little awkward. But the truth, it's really all about energy. For an introvert, social interaction, especially in busy places, literally drains their internal battery. They might love the conversation, but it costs them something significant. And that's exactly why home is so vital. It's not an escape, it's necessary maintenance. It's the charging station. Choosing to go home is a form of self-regulation, a way to plug that inner battery back in so they can actually show up in the world without completely burning out. Then you've got the creator. For writers, artists, developers, thinkers, home is their workshop. It's the quiet container where all the noise of the world finally fades away, allowing those distant thoughts and fragile little ideas to finally connect. For them, solitude isn't about getting away from the world. It's about going inward to find something to bring back to it. And what about the sensory-sensitive person? For them, the issue isn't really social energy, it's the environment itself. The bright lights, the dozens of overlapping sounds, the constant movement, it's just a full-on sensory assault. Their nervous system doesn't filter all this input easily, so everything just arrives at max volume, which is incredibly draining. So, home offers something absolutely crucial: control. You can dim the lights, you can lower the volume, you can reduce the chaos. And in that predictable, calm environment, the nervous system doesn't have to constantly fight for balance. It can finally just settle. It can breathe. But here's the pivot. This is the critical turning point. Restorative solitude is healthy. It's essential even. But there's a really fine line where it can quietly slide into a pattern of isolation that is much, much harder to break. And this transition, as you can see here, it happens so gradually you barely even notice it. It starts as healing rest. Then that evolves into a comfortable quiet. But over time, you might notice this growing sense of disconnection, where invitations start to feel heavy and the world seems kind of distant. And eventually, you don't even feel trapped, you just feel stuck. And this quote is just such a powerful insight. The whole goal of peace, of that quiet solitude, was never to stop you from living. It was meant to give you the energy to re-engage with life. When solitude stops leading you back outward, it starts to become a cage. And there's a real psychological risk here. See, without external feedback or new experiences to ground you, your mind just fills the vacuum. That inner critic gets a megaphone. Thoughts start to loop, and overthinking completely takes the place of just being present. It's a very quiet but very corrosive cycle. So, if you recognize yourself in that pattern at all, how do you find your way back? Well, the good news is, it's not about forcing some radical, scary change. It's about a gentle, compassionate rebalancing act. You know the typical advice, just get out more. It almost always backfires because it totally ignores your nervous system. A healthier, way more effective approach is so much smaller and more intentional. It's about finding gentle contact with life in ways that feel safe, not overwhelming. A quiet walk in a park, a coffee shop during an off hour, one real conversation with a friend you trust. That's where you start. Let's be really clear here. The objective isn't to suddenly become a social butterfly. The real goal is to reintroduce gentle contact with life, to let your body slowly remember that the outside world doesn't always have to be draining, that it can actually be nourishing too. And this right here is the core idea to hold on to. Your home should be your secure base, the place you launch from and always return to for rest and recovery. It shouldn't become a boundary, a wall that keeps the world and all its messy, beautiful possibilities out. And please, please remember this. Real, sustainable growth doesn't require some dramatic, uncomfortable leap. It's often subtle. It's almost boring. It happens through small, consistent steps, just enough movement to keep your world from shrinking, and just enough connection to remind you that safety also exists outside your front door. Ultimately, finding this balance isn't about forcing yourself to become someone else. It's about honoring the person you already are, while also giving that person a little more room to live. So the question I'll leave you with is this. What's one small, gentle step you can take today to start?